put on this New Orleans dinner for you. But how was it joining the court?
So I joined the court during COVID, so the pandemic was still raging and people hadn't fully come back to work. Although when I was sworn in, I mean, I wouldn't say that any one of my colleagues was more welcoming than another because they were all equally welcoming and wonderful. So when I was sworn in by the Chief Justice, Justice Breyer was still remote. He was still in Boston, and so he couldn't, it was a problem for him because he couldn't travel without, greater exposure. But those who were in Washington came to the court for the swearing in and we just did it in a big conference room and everyone had masks on and spread out, socially distanced in the conference room. Everybody was there. Everybody was warm. One of the things that meant a lot to me in that beginning was it was right around Halloween, and Justice Sotomayor came to my office, and Jesse, my husband, had come for the swearing in, and our children were back in South Bend, and he was going to be leaving in an hour or two to go back to South Bend to hold down the fort while I was commuting back and forth from Washington. And Justice Sotomayor came in and she had made bags of Halloween candy for each one of my children for Jesse to take back to them. I had no staff. I went in, I had no staff, no law clerks, no office supplies or anything that day. You can't really hire a staff before you're confirmed, and so it leaves you scrambling. And I had my first oral arguments in just a few days, and I didn't even know how to get into the computer system. And Justice Gorsuch found out, and so he just dispatched his assistants to come over, and they answered my phones, and they stocked me up with office supplies, and it was just thing after thing. I was living by myself 2 weeks of a month in Washington in the house that I was renting, and I had dinner invitations from my colleagues and lunch invitations, and they did everything in their power to make me feel welcome at what was a difficult time. I mean, they had just lost a beloved colleague, and Justice Ginsburg had just passed away. Everyone was under the stress of COVID, and everyone went above and beyond to really make me feel welcome.
That sort of leads into the next question I was going to ask you. There have been some extremely sharp differences in cases the last couple of years between the majority and the dissent. And have those sharp differences affected the relationship between the justices at all? Does it continue to